started the recording. Yeah, so it's package.json.
Sorry?
So yeah, that will give us the package.json that we'll need for our JavaScript dependencies.
Yeah.
Have you ever used React before?
No.
Have you ever used jQuery before?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that would have modified our package.json to include React DOM and Shadow CLJS.
Yeah.
And it's probably made a massive node.modules folder in the same directory as well.
Yeah. You can see.
Yeah. And the package.lock is like just pins all the versions that we've used to do that.
Let's just do that. Last review. Let's do resources. And public. Yeah. Search index.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
I might as well just do search.
Our Clojure dependencies.
Just checking. Yeah. So shadow CLJS. So that is one.
Yeah, that would be for configuring the shadow guide.
Yeah. So So this is our new project in the folders that we've got here. Try open that.aid, and we need to do the configuration for that.
Do we need to put anything in there yet in the depths? Or?
Yeah, we do. I'm just loading the wrong research page again.
On the what page, sorry?
The run page.
The run page.
The run research page. So
Okay.
this is the depth that we need. I'm just going to remove a few things. Fulcro is actually on version 3 now, but we can stick with version 2 for the moment. I'm not sure if there's a big difference.
I've not updated that. I think this will break. The 3. Yeah, that's pointing to the old version of Fulcro. I think when I tried to do that, it failed.
Are you happy with this, or shall I change it to the latest? The latest is 3.2.9.
Well, they changed the version, and they also changed the artifact name. It's like com.fulcro logic now instead of. I'll see if I've got an updated version.
I'll leave it as it is then.
Okay.
So the next thing to do on the list is the resources, public index. Yeah, next thing to do is just get some basic HTML.
I've put the new Maven coordinates on in the chat.
Shadow.
Update the guide as well.
So that's the shadow one. It also expects some build details.
Well, fix that in the guide as well. If you refresh, you should get the correct. Yeah.
Sorry, in the guide.
Yeah, for the Fulcro coordinates and depths.eden, I've made a correction.
Okay. I'll reload it. Is this on in the shadow Eden?
This one looks good to me in the shadow.
So what did you change in the ROM file
In
in your ROM document?
in depths.eden file, I've changed
Ah,
the coordinate.
I see. Okay. So here,
Yeah.
2.8.
The key has changed as well.
Oh yes. So it's now come. Fulcro.
Cool.
Okay. So so next time is to start drawing some closure inside source app client CLJS. Interesting. Okay. So go back to terminal. Doesn't we have got a source folder yet, have we?
No, not yet.
No. Source app. I'm wondering if that should be source Fulcro project rather than app. It all depends on what you've called the project. Still, I'll follow the instructions. But,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it works even if the outer folder is different.
name, yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the default in a lot of is to make it the same. I copied these instructions off of the official video, so it should work.
Okay. So we've got a client CLJS. This is interesting. So we don't actually have a main at the moment, and we don't. We're using CLJS, so it's purely Clojure script.
Yeah, the work that we're going to do initially will be entirely JavaScript based.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. So namespace app client. Well, that's correct. Com Fulcro logic. Fulcro applications app. SC. And then we've got the DOM. And we've got deference. And we're using this macro defc.
Yeah, you'll see that macro quite a lot. It's the equivalent of a React component.
I see.
A React component is like an abstraction that the React framework makes. that it uses for pretty much all of its like view type stuff. So you define your HTML in React in terms of React components, and then you sort of have lots of them to make a single page.
Now, interesting, it's got app mounds and exclamation mark, which means that there's a side effect.
Yeah.
In this.
So that mutates the page's DOM. So the DOM is, I've forgotten what the DOM actually stands for, but it's like the HTML.
Document object model.
Yes,
I think.
that's right. What that function does, you do this in React as well. You mount a component to a certain point in the HTML page.
Yeah.
And so what?
It can,
Yeah, so you can. Your component will declare a bunch of HTML, and then it will be injected into a certain bit of the page, and then the framework will take care of making that component render on the page correctly, I suppose. So what that function says is mount the framework and mount the sample component and target the HTML element that has an ID that says app. So our HTML must contain an ID of app. End of file while reading shadow dots. What's in our shadow? Are we missing a curly brace at the beginning of the line? Oh no, okay.
Maybe I didn't save it. Let's try it again. Yeah, I didn't save it.
Oh, okay. One thing I did find when I was doing this is it's not very good at reporting errors at this point in particular. So there's another command that you can run called npx shadowcljs and then build,
Okay.
which does seem to tell you about errors very early on in case this isn't working. Because usually this works after about 2 lines or so.
Ah, okay.
Maybe terminate this process.
Okay. Do build instead.
Yeah, try build.
Ah.
Oh, here we go. Error building class path, error reading Eden, invalid file, expected Eden to contain a single value.
This is
So there's a problem with that. Eden.
Oh, maybe I've not said this. I think no.
How come I can't see a curly brace at the beginning? Is that like a...
Ah, that's because that's what's broken.
Oh, okay.
I wonder why. Oh, no. Is that? Oh, it doesn't comprise.
Yeah, maybe better.
No, it's not getting. So for some reason, good. Right. That's two things. We'll just try start and see what happens.
Yeah, could do. Maybe it's time to start doing the build thing.
Okay. Okay.
It's obviously a bit hard to tell because our machines will act a bit differently perhaps, but
Yeah.
I think this should be fine.
I was just keen. Whilst it's doing that, let's just check anything else. Everything saved. Let's tell me. And somebody.
Well, this looks promising. Getting a load of dependencies in. Yeah, I suppose with React and the React components, the main sort of breakthrough that React had was that jQuery, it was very easy to not really tell what was going on if the project got quite large. Whereas the React model, they tried to have it so that if you had this component, everything, well, not everything, but most things to do with that component are very centralized in the component itself. So if you have a bug in a particular part of your website, it would be easier to track by finding the component. Invalid action build. Okay. We try the start approach.
I can. I'm just wondering, do I need to have like an option in my shadow CLJS to have build?
To have
Well,
what?
well let's just have a look at shadow. So here's a shadow CLJ. We've got builds.
Yeah, we got a build called
Name.
and it targets the browser and it outputs at these locations. In the fresh terminal, can you do ls in the project directory? Okay, should we try and terminate that one?
This is what I've got in the project directory.
Deps.using JSON. When it told us that build wasn't a valid command, it listed the commands that it does understand. Should we have a look at that?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sure. Compile.
Oh, try server.
Okay.
I've seen server before.
Yeah, me too. But do we have two things going at once? Do we have like a client and a server?
In the shadow CLJ file, we defined a dev HTML server, but that's the only thing that we have.
It's not providing any feedback. So it's hard to tell exactly what's going
Hmm.
I could try the compile command.
Yeah, it's probably worth a try.
Yeah, not much difference.
Just gonna read the guide a second to see if I haven't missed anything.
Okay. I'm going to cancel that. Do it again with a A from V for verbose.
Yeah, that's a bit puzzling.
I wonder if it's because I've changed the version of Fulcro that we were using.
No, I think that was because I remember when I wrote the guide, um, I had the problem basically, which meant that I had to change to 3.
Okay.
Can we do a slow tour around the files that we've made again?
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the shadow. Anything out of the ordinary there?
So that first line basically tells Shadow to go to the deps.eden file, and all the dependencies are going to be under the dev alias in our deps.eden file. So it will bring those dependencies.
Shall we have a look at the dev dependencies there in the
Yeah, we could try that.
So deps.eden. So alias is dev. Extra dependencies.
Yeah, that seems good to me.
Yeah. Let's look at the client again. Is that correct? Let's check.
Yeah.
That's correct, is it?
I'm not sure if it's required, but it's correct. I've seen that in the video.
So what does this empty map mean?
So the thing that Fulcro does differently from React is it puts query information and unique information about the component in that map that you have selected. But it's optional and it's not required. I'm tempted to, if I like wipe a folder on my side and then see if I can do it from scratch on my side, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, I'll share my screen.
Okay.
What do we need? We need project folder. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Close for 2.
So do you fancy continuing this next week?
I think it's been a good experiment. We could certainly pick it up again if we wanted to.
Okay, so because we sort of missed a week, so I wouldn't mind just continuing this.
Yeah.
Because what I'd like to do is explore really creating, not just creating an app like this, but actually maybe a deep dive into doing a full Fulcro app.
Yeah, that would be cool. Because like what I wanted, I haven't shared this page with you yet. I can
Yeah,
do that now, but it goes even further. So this is just like video 2, and like the guy who did Falco did like 20 odd videos. So there's that to have a look at.
I think what I'd be keen to see is the configuration of the application because I can't remember the way it was expressed, but it was basically how you define an application. And I've forgotten the terminology that it was using, but I liked it as it was describing the application through data.
Yeah. So that's quite. I think what you're referring to is called Falco RAD,
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
which is, yeah, you can define data and then it's your about your application, and then it sort of builds your application based off of that. Kind of. But yeah, it's hard to, because Falco RAD is built in Falco. I think it's a good idea to start with Fulcro as like a base event,
Yes.
and then we can do that kind of stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so far I have done the npm steps, which were these bits. And now I need a deps.info. That should have created one. I need to add Fulcro to it. Is there a way to like refresh? Oh, there it is.
And you've got an extra set of brackets.
Cool.
Good.
And then we need this stuff. Not this right. Like that. And then that can go there. So that should be balanced, hopefully. And then the one thing.
Have you used Ruby on Rails?
Yeah, at university I did a bit of Ruby on Rails.
What I particularly liked about Ruby is that when you created a new route in your application, it automatically create the corresponding test with it.
Yeah.
So what might be fun to do, and I'm saying fun in the way that a developer thinks of fun, is maybe we could do a full core application TDD all the way down. So say we're going to create a new route, we create the corresponding test first and then build the routes around it.
Yes. Yeah, that require a bit of thought about, but I can't see why not. I say that because like the default sort of primitive in these frameworks is these components that I keep talking about. And I think it will be a case of how to test the components, which is obviously going to be a sort of issue, but I'm not sure how to do it off the top of my head. Should I get some? Well, it's the fault.
I think what is hard with these applications is writing an application where you don't repeat yourself, and with tests, if you want to refactor your application quickly, and you're dependent on lots of pointing to certain application settings, it becomes, the tests become quite brittle. So managing that has to be.
Yeah, that's a particularly bad problem on front end in general, even outside of Clojure. Is that
Well, yeah,
tests are very brittle when it comes to the UI.
yeah, a lot of a lot of QAs like use hooks, which when it comes to redesigning the application, you wouldn't have. So if you're say using a CSS framework like Tailwind, and then you switch to a different framework, you might, your testing team might have used hooks for the classes for Tailwind, and then you can't readily change that. You've got to like focus on the functionality of the tests, or you build like a framework where you're testing the API to the application, and a lot of the testing around the UI is ignored. Or you test the most crucial parts of the UI.
Yeah. There's
But you focus on the functionality.
Yeah, there's a okay kind of project called Cypress, which is quite good for that front endy kind of. But yeah, like
Cypress.
yeah. But
Is Cypress, sorry, what's Cypress for? I've not heard of that.
Cypress is it still won't protect you against like if you change your front end framework, it's not going to protect you against that.
Cypress is an open source.
Is that you?
Yeah, I had to mute the video. But it's sort of, you use JavaScript to define your interactions with a page, and then the test runner is like this kind of thing. I mean, it's got a lot of mind share and it's quite interesting, but yeah, it's such a hard problem, and I haven't really solved it in a meaningful way yet. Oh, there was one thing. So I'm running, what's his name, COJ Kondo, and it's identifying the things unused. So I need to fix that with, there's a little bit of that tells the analyzer to treat. Yeah, there's this line which says, treat the Fulcro macro as if it was Clojure's defn function. So if I do is it called config.ev? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So if I change this file now, there we go. So you saw that red went away.
Yeah.
Because now it understands that this is the kind of a name of a function a little bit, or at least it's treating it that way, so it's not unused. These are still unused, correct. I could change this though to this one, and it will ignore that. And the rest of these warnings are dictionary warnings. So if I just save them to the thing, these will go away. And we're back to, yeah.
Okay.
No errors on that side. Okay, so I think I can just run it now.
Did you create the HTML?
I think I did, yeah. Double check. Yeah, we got that in there.
Good.
There we go. Got your fingers crossed.
Well, after you've done this, wow, I'll run it again from scratch after we've finished the meeting for tonight and give it another go. I'm sure it's probably some typo somewhere.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it hasn't told you explicitly, because I definitely had that when I was making the tutorial. I had some errors and then it told me what the errors were. So I think
Okay.
this is the shadow CLJS interface,
Okay.
which has changed a little bit since we last saw it. It's quite cool. So that was navigate to that, and that's the shadow CLJS.
Yeah.
Here we can see the groups of flavors.
Oh. No, that's not what I expected. I would have expected it to say in the div tag hello world.
You know what I've done? I've done this in the completely wrong directory. So this Fulcro directory is the
Oh, Fulcro. You had Fulcro too.
exactly. Yeah. So let's try that again.
Okay. Okay.
This should hopefully be like all broken now. It's not broken. Does that mean it's still running somewhere? Let me check and see if I've got anything running. I've got Java running, but I kind of need that until I don't trust that it's already worked. But that's a bit concerned. Okay, I'm going to close IntelliJ temporarily and kill
Okay.
Java, and then we'll run it from command line. Alright, I think that disappeared. Where are we now? Okay. Yeah, this one doesn't look quite so happy, but yeah, it's still ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing we have to do is build. Am I still sharing my screen, or is it broken?
Yeah. No.
What was that? You cut out a little bit there.
You're not sharing your screen at the moment, no.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. But that is not helpful. Yeah, okay, still recording, that's good. Okay, so this is it for real this time. Let's build it
Well,
again.
you still got further than I did.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that it didn't work. Okay. And then that's turned into a smiley face, which is good, so it should be. Hooray!
Ah, that's great.
So we set up a. What's my window? A REPL in our configuration in our shadow.clj. On port 9000. I suppose that should, what it should show is it changes. Okay. happened to? I don't know what's happened. There was a terminal that I had that had the server running in it. But the website is working.
Well, hang on, I'll start loading then. But it's not it's not, you've not evaluated it. Yeah.
That's the wrong folder.
So the file you saved it. I saw that, but haven't you got to evaluate it again?
Well, what should have happened is a live code reload should have just made that work magically.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to kill all my Javas. And then reload. Right. That's
Okay.
it. Just unexpected. And then server's already running. How does it know that the server's already running? I suppose what I do is check the network. No. No. Yeah, I'm not sure how to figure that out. Oh, probably if I go that way. Okay. If you ever get an error where it thinks the server is up, but it clearly isn't up, delete this folder.
Sorry, what was it? It was failing. I was breaking up.
I had shut down the server, but it kept telling me that it was already running.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't change its mind until I deleted this hidden folder.
Ah.
Which is frustrating, but fine. No. that's CPU. I think the mistake last time was I clicked build, I didn't click watch. So when I changed it in the source code, it didn't change anything. Right, now that we got the smiley face, should be able to change things here. Right. There we go. So we can just add things. Cool.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good.
This was all for something that I wanted to show, but I can't remember what it was.
I think probably now is a good time to stop for this evening.
Yeah.
I'll try and get this running on mine for next week, and I'll see if I can find out the point of failure, and then we can move to the next section. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, good. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Have a good week, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.